Hi, Santosh. Thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations. You are on a spree, one launch after the other. Now, let's talk about EQS SUV. So, after the Maybach EQS SUV has come now, what are your expectations from EQS SUV, and um, how different is the customer profile compared to a Maybach owner?
Yeah, I think we are fully committed to the electrification. Therefore, three EVs in 3 months. We started with EQA, then the Maybach, and now the EQS SUV, which again is locally produced in India. I think that's also a big proud moment for us. Uh, 18 months back, when we first localized the EQS sedan, we got feedback from customers that they wanted a bit more larger car because India also has large families. They have pets, they travel, and therefore we at that point of time considered localizing this car for India. And today, in 18 odd months now, we have this car for the market. The customer profile is similar to the EQS sedan customer, but of course, consumers who want more space inside the car, a bit more SUV because 55% of our sales are SUVs in India. So there is a set of customers who prefer that body style. So at that price point, I'm sure the GLE, the GLS customers now have an electrified option with the EQS SUV. It's a seven-seater plus electric. So definitely for large families, it's a quite ideal solution as an electric car.
I would have loved to drive it, but I'm missing out on that. Now, my next question is, one of the things with EVs is, especially SUV, when somebody goes to buy, is the ground clearance. How comfortable is EQS SUV's ground clearance, especially for Indian conditions?
No, firstly, I would send the car across to you at your convenience so that you should experience yourself and not just rely on what we say. But it's a capable off-roader to start with. And when it's an off-roader, the ground clearance is not a matter of concern. To be precise, it's more than 180 odd mm in terms of ground clearance. So that should not have any issues on Indian roads as such. So I think that's being taken care of, and that's again one of the advantages with the SUV. You have a much better, a different seating posture as well as a better ground clearance for these cars.
Okay, now we are pretty much in the middle of festive season. You have had three big announcements. You are going to launch the E-Class as well. How's the response been from the market? What's happening in the luxury market segment?
I think after a bit of slowdown that we saw in Q2, we follow Jan December calendar. So in that sense, also July and August because of monsoons were a bit slow. But we have seen a very strong uptake in September. And we will also now introduce a new E-Class long wheelbase. We have started accepting expression of interest now. So consumers who are waiting for this car can now go and book so that they get the car. And we try to give as many customers by Diwali. So 9th of October is the launch and deliveries will start soon after that. And we should be able to cater to the festive demand. So in general, our outlook for a double-digit growth for this year continues. And we are still optimistic that there will be a strong market uptake now as we see during, we had Onam and Ganesh Chaturthi in some parts of India. And we really saw a very strong customer deliveries at that time. And hopefully now with Dussehra and Diwali coming up, also the wedding season up north, we should clearly see that this year should definitely end on a high note.
I want to ask you, does a buoyant stock market help the sentiments?
Surely, luxury consumption is a sentiment-driven purchase. They say that luxury starts where necessity ends. So in that sense, when the stock markets are doing well, most of our customers are invested in stock and real estate as well. Let me say these are two big sectors which have a direct influence on our customers as well. And right now, both of them are doing great. Real estate sector also more so in the particularly the high-end real estate is doing extremely well. Stock market doing well. And that also shows corporate earnings are great, ESOPs are there, startups are doing there. So you get more and more younger customers. Mercedes-Benz is also a way to reward yourself, right? So you have done something in life now, it's time to reward. And with markets doing well, startups on a roll, I think this is no better time than to reward yourself with a Mercedes-Benz.
Okay. Also, now that you have a very wide portfolio of EVs, how much are EVs contributing to your total sales now?
So last year it was 2.5%. This year we have almost doubled. Now 5% of our sales are EVs, and we continue. This is not a destination. We have to wait for customers to accept. Our job is to give more options to customers across every price segment and price point. So now we have an EV from 66 lakhs with the EQA going right up to 2.25 crores with the Maybach EQS SUV, and EQG, which will be 3 crores plus, will also make its way to India sometime soon. So our commitment remains. We have 6 car lines now and options for the customer. And at today, 5% of our sales are EVs.
And what do you expect from next year? Do you think that percentage is expected to grow up further?
Ideally, yes, because the customers will for sure decide the pace of transition. But there are a lot of queries out, the on the consumer to be answered. Life of the car, residual values. We have taken care of some of them with this launch. We are giving a 10-year battery warranty now to get more confidence. We are giving a residual value guarantee of 60% at the end of 3 years for this car, so that the customers now make that big shift and do the transition. But finally, it's customers who decide the pace of transition. I keep saying, we have the full portfolio. So it's not like we need to do an A fuel type and X percentage of sales. But we would love to decarbonize the auto industry. We will love to decarbonize our operations. We want to be carbon neutral as early as possible. So faster adoption will help us in that agenda. But if end of the day, the customer is selecting a very good Mercedes-Benz combustion engine, we are also equally happy.
So let's talk about combustion engine a little bit here. How much does the diesel powertrain contribute to your sales?
So it depends on the type. In SUVs, it's as high as 70%, and in sedans now it's as low as 40%. So diesels are still there for its own advantages. High torque, also very low TCO. In terms of if you are driving a long distance, diesel still makes sense in India. So diesels are still there, depending on the body shape as well as regions as well. For example, Delhi is a 90% gasoline petrol market, but when I go to Punjab, that goes to 50-50. Down south, diesels are almost 70%. We are in Hyderabad today for the drive. It's around 70% here is diesel still.
All right, so diesel continues to be one of the favorites amongst the luxury car buyers. Now, from here on, what are your growth expectations? Of course, this year you have said that it's going to be a double-digit growth, but will it be low double digit, or do you expect it to cross 15-17%? What is your assessment, so considering the festive season has started on positive note, and one of your biggest sales product, which is the E-Class long wheelbase, that's coming up very soon?
So, on the E-Class, firstly, the demand for sure is significantly high. Can we supply to that demand will be a question mark. My colleagues back in production are trying their best to get as many cars out as possible, even by Diwali, even before December, so that we can maximize the sales potential. On the other side, if you see Jan to June, we grew by 9% The first quarter, we were at 15%. The second quarter, first half, we were at 9%. So average, we are at 9.5. So now we have to do a double-digit growth for the full year. Means we have to grow significantly more in Q3 and Q4, which is what we are saying now with these new products. And I cannot put a number because it's depending on supply chain, depending on market. But at this stage, it should be a record year for us, and anything on double digit should be a very positive sign for us.
Let's talk about localization. How much localization have you achieved in your, say, EVs, and what are your targets for localizing more?
I think localization has its advantages on cost. If you see the EQS SUV now at 1.41 crores, we were able to get this price because of localization, because of the advantages we get with it. In terms of percentage localization, as a company, we are almost 30% plus when it comes to localizing. We have been in India for many years now. We have developed a good ecosystem around Pune, Chakan. A lot of our supplier ecosystem is there. But when you look at more, local content, it's just not for India. We have a specific sourcing team based out of my plant in Chakan, Pune, which is looking at opportunities for Indian suppliers to supply to the global ecosystem and to the global supply chain. I think that's a much bigger opportunity for Indian suppliers as well than only supplying for our operations in Pune. So we are looking at procurement holistically to ensure we develop more and more Indian suppliers for the global supply chain.
You mentioned supply side, supply chain requirements. Do you think what's happening in the Mediterranean Sea that's impacting supply chains, and it is a matter of concern, or have you already seen some supply disruptions?
No, I think there is an average 20 days delay in shipment arrival because of the ships taking a longer route. It also adds to cost because of the longer lead time. But I think we have now stabilized that because now we have factored that 20 days extra delay in our operation. So at this stage, I think the proof lies that we were able to introduce the EQS SUV, now locally produced car, just on festive season. We kept it till the last because we were also not sure to get this car out. E-Class, the earlier plan of record was again November post Diwali. We have been able to prepone that. So I think the teams are really working hard to get the car for at the right time to the market. So I think that's our job to manage supply chain. Challenges will continue to remain in that side, but I think we have been able to navigate quite successfully.
And on EV side, you have now such some data available with you. What is the demand of luxury car buyers? What are their apprehensions about EVs, and what is their confidence? What is the data point telling you?
See, once they buy an EV, they are super proud, firstly, because they are pioneers. They also are trendsetters. I keep saying, when you buy any car, you won't get friends and families talking to you. But when you buy an EV, the amount of calls you get about consultation, you are suddenly looked upon as the trendsetter because not only in the society you stay or in the complex or maybe in a independent houses you stay, but there is a lot of people asking a lot of queries. So that actually also gives a lot of satisfaction to current EV customers because they took that leap of faith and they are now using an EV. Of course, when it comes to public charging, it's also a fact only 20% of our customers have used public charging. Most of the time, they're using the charge at home because these cars, like the EQS SUV, the range is 800 plus kilometers, ARAI certified. Real world can be 650, 700 kilometers. So, in that sense, once in 8 days, 10 days, you have to charge. And if you do that in your home, you never ever need to go to a charging station. But before you buy, these are the questions. What about charging infrastructure? But do you need it? What about the life of the car? Because we give a 10-year battery warranty, and then the perception is the life of the car for 10 years because of the we have been using mobile phones, laptops, and the consumer feeling is that maybe an EV car is similar. But we say that in 10 years the state of charge drops from 5-10%. The battery is still there. You can continue for 15 years, 20 years. Even after that, the battery has second life. So there's a lot of education that's needed to customers to get them into the ecosystem. But once they are in, then they realize that, wow, first of all, the savings are huge. You never spend money on fuel as much. And on the other side, they enjoy the car. It's quite, so also in today's urban cities, you spend 1.5 hours in a car or 3 hours in a car both ways. It's a quiet environment for you to do your work. So the benefits are only seen once you start using an EV for a period of time.
Okay. The EV ecosystem. One thing that I wanted to check with you is that recently JSW they came up with Venture with battery as a service option. Now, on the face of it, it looks very attractive. It is basically a financing system. But did you take a look at it? What do you think of it?
No, I think it's a smart financing solution. In my view, if you remember during the EQA launch, we said we also have agility packages. So you only pay for 40% of the car price. The 60% is a residual value guarantee we give at the end of 3 years, 4 years. We buy back the car or you can continue to drive. That's again breaking the car into two components. You don't pay for the full price of the car, you pay only part of it. It's the same concept. You don't pay for battery, you can say, and you pay for the balanced car. So I think financing definitely helps driving the market. It's a very clever idea to also package and take away this anxiety, customer anxiety on batteries. So it's a smart way. I would welcome more and more such ideas because EV, you need more players. Today, EVs are available at hardly 10% of the sales outlets in India. So you need more players to introduce EVs. You need more options for customers, and such kind of innovative financing solutions will only accelerate the transformation. And as I said, we have agility similarly. So even in EQS, if somebody wants to buy a car, they don't need to pay 1.41 crores. They can pay only the 40%. And that's converted to EMIs. The balance 60%, we take it as a guarantee. And at the end of third year, they can decide what to do with that 60%, which can be battery or which can be whatever you can then term it as.
But in the luxury EV segment buyer, is cost an impediment? Because, if you compare it with ICE, because of the taxation structure, it actually becomes better for buying an EV.
Exactly. I think it's about value. I won't say cost because a consumer is value driven world over and in India as well. So to expect them to pay something much more, it's not also fair. So right now they have been conditioned to pricing on combustion engines on high taxes because India has a 48% tax on a combustion engine, add the road tax of 20%. So it has by design we have consumers have accepted the 68% duty on cars. Now, when they see an EV with such a low tax, they also realize there's a lot of value I get in the car in terms of product substance and content. And why not? Of course, it's still 5%. And this is why I say that not 95% still is paying high taxes and still buying combustion engine cars. But I think it's a matter of time. The government is clear that they will have a long-term roadmap on this. Decarbonizing the auto industry is on agenda for the government as well. So we, including, I keep requesting also media friends like you, I have a role to decarbonize the auto sector. And how much can we communicate and explain these advantages to consumers? The other argument then they throw is we are still burning coal for electricity. So whether EVs are clean. But in India, 43% of the power generated is from non-fossil fuel base. So we are still there. Now, should we wait for that final picture and then I shift to an EV? I say no. But we, the entire management team in MB India, for example, we all use EVs and we are quite happy with it. But it's a leap of faith. You need to learn to live with it and then you start enjoying it over a period of time.
All right, Santosh, thank you so much for taking time out and talking to us. And I hope you have
Thanks for having me, Mukta. Thank you. And you should drive this car
I'm
to
looking
really
forward.
experience the SUV in an EQS.
Definitely, definitely. I can't wait actually. See you.
Thank
See you.
you.